All right, ladies and gentlemen, today is Thursday, April 2nd. Welcome to today's lesson. We are still working in that scientific text, and I know you're thinking, oh my gosh, I can't believe we're doing this text another day. But you guys know it's how we do things around here. We build every day, and today is the day that you are going to finish the text finally. So we're reading that book, From Seed to Pine Tree. And our learning targets today are we are going to read pages 18 through 23 of this scientific text so that we can understand the life cycle of a plant using precise details from the text and text features. So that's what we're working on. We're trying to use those key details in the text and help us understand the life cycle of a plant with text features. I know I'll have it when I can understand the life cycle of a plant with help from those key details and the information that's presented in the text features. So the last few days we were talking about text structure. Today we're going back to text features, which we touched base on Monday. So here's what you're going to do for ELA today. Same as always this week, go on to Myon, back into the story From Seed to Pine Tree. The link is on Edsby, or you can go through Clever. You're going to read pages 18 through 23. And then after you're done reading, you're going to answer these questions on Edsby by the end of the day today. What evidence on page 18 explains why the seeds are flying free? Wonder what that means. What is the evidence on page 18 that explains that phrase, that seeds are flying free? Then on page 21, the next question says, using evidence from the text, why is the heading on page 21, the cycle begins again? So why do you think the author put that heading there? The cycle begins again. What is it about the text that makes that a good heading? And how does the diagram on page 22 support the text in this book? So that's a text feature specific question. How is the diagram on page 22 supporting the text? Why did the author choose to put that diagram in there? What does it support? And how does the glossary, another text feature, how does the glossary on page 23 support key information in the text? Okay, how does the glossary support those precise details? After you're done reading and writing, go ahead and move into your independent work, which today is 30 minutes of iReady. So no independent reading today. Let's focus on iReady and get that differentiated instruction going for us. All right, into writing. So make sure you guys are doing your writing after you finish reading. And let's talk about our learning targets for today. Today, you're going to review what poetry is and learn what a haiku is. Yesterday, we talked about cinquain poems. Today, you're going to learn about a different kind of poetry called a haiku. The reason why we're learning it is so that we can understand that haiku is just one form of poetry. Cinquain is a form of poetry, haiku is a form of poetry, and there are many, many others. Today is just one kind called a haiku. And we know we'll have it when we can use what we've learned from today's lesson and create our own haiku poem. So I'm going to show you an example of that. We're going to go over the special rules because we like the rules for poems. It makes it easy for us to write our own. We're going to go over the special rules that make haikus today. Okay. Haiku poetry. A haiku poem is a poem with 3 lines, okay? It says just like cinquains, not line, just like cinquains, each line has a special rule that needs to be followed. Okay, so we're doing less lines in a cinquain poem, but each line still has a rule, just like the cinquain poems all have rules to their lines. So here's an example of a haiku poem. It says, the title of it is A Rainbow. Curving up, then down, meeting blue sky and green earth, melding sun and rain. And the author of the haiku is Donna Brock. Curving up and down, meeting blue sky and green earth, melding sun and rain. So just like yesterday, I want to see if you guys can try and figure out what are the rules of each line in that poem. So I'll give you a minute, a little less than a minute. Go ahead and try and figure out what are the rules for each line, do you think? Some of you might already know, but go ahead and try. All right, let's see if you guys figured it out. Okay, so here are the rules. Line 1 has 5 syllables, okay? Syllables are the beats of a word. You should know that. Line 2, 7 syllables, okay? It's a little bit simpler than a cinquain so far. Line 3, 5 syllables again. So line 1 has 5 syllables, line 2 has 7 syllables, and line 3 has 5 syllables back again. So it goes 5, 7, 5. So this poem says, thunderstorm above, feel the tension in the air, anger rages on. So if you counted each beat, thunderstorm above, that's 5. Feel the tension in the air, that's 7. Anger rages on, back to 5 again. Okay, so those are the simple rules for a haiku. So you guys are going to watch me now go over how to make a haiku.
Oh. Hold on one second. So I have notes here for our new poetry lesson for today, and we're going to be talking about haikus today. Haiku. Now, a haiku is a special poem just like cinquains. Haikus originate from Japan. So they're Japanese poems, and what makes them unique is that in the whole poem, it only has 17 syllables. You can see that here, a Japanese poem that has a total of 17 syllables. Now, if you guys remember, a syllable is the beat of a word. So, for example, haiku, okay? Haiku has 2 syllables to it, okay? 2 beats, haiku. Lazera has 3, lazera, okay? So that's something to keep in mind because that's what makes a haiku a haiku. So going back into the rules that we just learned about haikus, they have 3 lines, okay? That's something that distinguishes a haiku, 3 lines, and each line has a special thing to it, just like cinquains. But instead of cinquains having a number of words for each line, a haiku has a number of syllables for each line. So line 1 in a haiku has 5 syllables. Line 2 in a haiku has 7 syllables. And line 3 of a haiku goes back to 5 syllables. So there's a pattern, okay? 5, 7, 5. So total that up and that gives you 17, right? Now, the other thing about haikus is that they're typically written about things that happen in nature, okay? So the Japanese are really in tune to nature. So that's why the poems that we write in haiku form typically are about things in nature. Now you can write a haiku about anything really, but this is just the traditional form of the poem, is that they're written with things that happen in nature. So I have 2 haikus that I've written down underneath this paper here. So let's look at the first one together. Okay, the title of this one is Snowflakes. And as you guys are reading this with me, I want you to notice how I have the number of syllables out here on the side. So make sure that when you're reading, you're kind of clapping along to the beat of each word and make sure that I am correct, that I have 5, 7, 5. So the title of this is Snowflakes. Snowflakes are our friends. They descend when winter comes, making white blankets. Okay, that's it. Short and sweet. 5, 7, 5. And as you can see, I put little dots up here to remind me, am I really on track with syllables? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And down here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Total 17 syllables, right? Okay, and that's about snowflakes. That's something that happens naturally in nature, okay? Let's look at the next one. Okay, this is called the beach. Sand scatters the beach. Waves crash on the sandy shore. Blue water shimmers. Okay, I'm writing about the beach. I'm kind of putting these images in the reader's head about what is at the beach. So I'm just thinking, well, what is at the beach? Well, there's sand at the beach. Sand scatters, thinking about how that sand sometimes blows in the wind, it scatters. Waves, there's waves at the beach. Waves crash on the shore, and that blue water shimmers. You look out into the ocean on that bright sunny day and you can see how the sun is reflecting off that water and it kind of makes a shimmer to it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then the last line is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so these are 2 examples of haikus. You guys are going to make your own haiku now, so just make sure that you are following the rules. There are 3 lines. Each line has a specific number of syllables, 5, 7, 5. Really easy to remember. Start with 5, end with 5, middle of 7. Okay, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to message me in the message part of Edsby, not on the class feed. Please message me separately in Edsby. Can't wait to see what you guys come up with.
Okay, so back to the rest of the presentation. We're going to go over the to-do list for writing today. So after watching this presentation, I want you guys to make your own haiku poem and then be sure to post your haiku poem on Edsby. And here's an example of a haiku down here. It says, haikus are easy, but sometimes they don't make sense. Refrigerator. Okay, so that's a silly one. You can write a haiku about anything, you guys. It doesn't have to just be about nature. For example, this one is trying to be silly. Let's try and make a serious one about a topic that makes sense before we go into the silly ones. If you want to make a silly one after your first one, you're more than welcome to. So the assignment for this is in Edsby. Make sure you guys turn that in by the end of the day today.